Hello, welcome to my channel Conscious Growing. I'm Matthias. So this video will be about anxiety and how to identify anxiety and how to deal with anxiety. So first of all, I want to mention that I'm no medical professional. I have no background in this. These are only my own observations and my own processes I want to share here. And if you have any doubts about your symptoms, please go to your doctor and let it check. So, yeah, the nature of fear is quite simple because they create always restriction in us. Means we are fearful, we don't have the courage to do certain things, we are worried about the future, and this all creates a very small world. And then somehow we are aware that this is anxiety, but we don't know how to deal with it, because sometimes you just want to get rid of it, and we do certain techniques to calm it down, or we run away from it. And doing this, we never clearly identify the anxiety, because the nature of anxiety is keeping us protected, keeping us small, warning us to do certain things. And if we allow this kind of thought patterns to rule us, then I'm certainly sure it also creates symptoms, because we are narrowing ourselves, we tense up, and the very tension causes more symptoms, causes more hypervigilance, and then we are in this kind of circle. And I've spoken in these videos a lot about it, and I think you can't talk enough about it, so that's why I want to shed a light on this again. And so first of all, I find it's really important that you identify the thought patterns. So you might think, okay, I'm clear, this is my anxiety, this is the way I think, this is what's coming up. In the worst case, you're still a victim of your own thoughts, and you think, this kind of thoughts, they bother me so much, and what can I do, and why me, and all these kind of attitudes. But in the moment you see that these thoughts are just products of the past, of habitual way of thinking, fearful thinking, and you are able to step back and just observe them for what they are, then you already have some space, you already created some space between your habitual patterns, the way you look at them. Because if you step back, you give yourself some space, and maybe this step back can give you some space for breathing, some space for seeing it more clear what it is. And this is a practice, of course, because so easily we get caught up, especially if the conditions already last for a while. You get up in the morning, you have the same thoughts like you had yesterday. And here is the important point. You allow your fearful brain to run your day in the worst case. So this is quite a thing, because on one hand you really don't want to run away from it. You want to take a step back. You want to see for what it is. And then, and I think this is the most important part, you want to create new neural pathways. You want to retrain your brain. You want to make new experiences. So how is this possible? I think it's only possible when you react differently. And to react differently, it's important that you are less involved, that you were able to take this step back, stay centered, stay with yourself, hear the chatter, the old familiar chatter, don't respond on it, give it some space, and there is the doorway for a new decision. So what's the new decision? The first decision is not responding. The second decision is a new action, or at least a new thought pattern. So the chatter is there, but you identify it as something habitual, and you are able to create a new thought pattern. For example, I don't believe you anymore. At least in the beginning you might be just suspicious, but then with time it gets more clear that these kind of thoughts are just thoughts, and it's not who you are. And also the symptoms these thoughts created are just in the same box. So, in other words, not believing this voice, and also to see that the symptoms it created are under the same umbrella. So means if you respond, if you don't respond in the habitual way on your fear, it will influence the symptoms as well. So we don't work directly on the symptoms. We don't try to get rid of them. We don't try to fix them. Our mindset is somewhere else, can be somewhere else. And it is about to create new thought patterns, to see possibilities, to see what's possible in this moment. And sometimes when you are really sick and when you're really exhausted and you are bedbound, for example, you still can take this opportunity, because if you're bedbound, your mind will attack you the whole day long and will find fearful reasons that this is the end of your life here. But there are so many recovered, even people have been in the darkest hours of their life with tons of symptoms. It's always possible, but this shift has to happen. So you see what's happening, you don't believe it anymore, you are clear with yourself, these are just old thoughts, old patterns, I don't believe them anymore. And coming back to this bed-bound, bedridden example, you can use your brain to direct your life in a new direction, your thought in a new direction. Because if there's so much fear, then just a little success in this fear, just a little step away, just a little possibility in a new direction can be a first step. And on this you build up. You create new thought patterns while you're lying there. You use the time, and then all of a sudden the fear dies down. And when this happens, you might have more energy, more capacities. And then the next step might be you get out of your bed and you sit on the bed for a few moments. And so on. So in little steps, you will be able to build up some new stamina, some new resilience. And why is this possible? Because you're not stuck in the fear symptoms, the fear patterns anymore. And even if it's really strong, and even if symptoms are really strong, it's always connected to this fear thesis. Because the trick of the mind, or the habit of the mind, is when symptoms go up, when a flare-up is there, anxiety gets more intense. It's always related. And then you are in this panic, oh my God, a breathing technique, something that can help me now. And then you get more nervous. And why is this happening? Because you believe it. You still believe it. And I don't say that this is easy. And it's not about being perfect in this. It's not about anxiety comes and I have to transform every moment. But it's just a tendency. You have to become stronger than these habitual thoughts. But to become stronger than these habitual thoughts, you have to identify them first. You have to see for what they are. You have to see this is not a normal thought. For example, I just give this example. When your mind says, your scared brain says, I will never recover. I'm stuck. I will never get out of it. Then we all know you can be 100% sure that this is your scared brain. On the other hand, when out of you there is an impulse of I have to go to the grocery and have to buy some stuff, this is just a normal thought, a practical thought. And this kind of thought doesn't leave any footprint, but the other one does. But if you don't buy into it in the moment it happens, and you can, like a martial art guy or martial art woman, you can, the attack comes from the opponent, it comes, and you just hold your arm, and the opponent is stopped immediately with no effort, because you were somehow prepared for what's coming. And you know that can come in any moment. But if you're prepared and then the next step, don't buy into it, you are in advance already. And yeah, so when I have to catch my thought, yeah, coming back on track. So when you want to build up new neural pathways, you have to write a new story. Don't buy into it, and then write your own story. React differently. And you only can react differently when you know your own patterns, your own fear patterns, when you're able to identify them. You see, I'm repeating again and again, but it's all about that. It's about repetition. These kind of things don't happen overnight. It's not like we think we have smart brains and we have so many capacities with our brain. We can use our brain all day long. But to break this pattern, we need more patience because it's a really strong one. And ups and downs will come. Even when you start with it, this fear energy will get stronger in the beginning. Yeah, you bring it to the surface and you stand for yourself and you say, I don't buy into it anymore. And then this part might create some more strategies to keep his energy alive. And I want to make it very clear, it's not a battle. You don't battle with this part. You just see that this is not you, that these are old thought patterns, that these are old reactions and they have nothing to do with the present moment. Only this is important, to see this. And sometimes these patterns can be really rigid. And there's a subtle way of dealing with it, because what I found out for myself at least, it's not working to just be strong and just push it. I don't believe you do. I'm sitting here. I'm not scared. So it's not the point. Because if you see the nature of it, it is a part of you. And it's a part in the past, probably in your childhood, that protected you for a good reason. It saved your life. This energy saved your life. You see, it's more subtle than it seems. So the point is, you don't want to believe your, let's say, 5-year-old child anymore. You don't want to be ruled by your 5-year-old child anymore. But on the other hand, you have to see that this is a part of you which is still scared and still wants to protect you. Therefore, you need this straightness on one hand, this clarity on one hand, that not buying in, but on the other hand, to show compassion. And sometimes we have these days where this old voice is really, really, really loud. And then sometimes, at least for myself, I have to stop. and I have to sit with it, and I have to allow it to be there. But the huge difference is, are you identified with this fear, or are you just the adult, the loving self, in other words, who sees the trouble but don't believe in it? And then you might find ways with yourself to be compassionate and patient also with this kind of energies. But in the moment you buy into it, you are lost. We are lost. And again, it doesn't mean that in some moments when we have despair or anger, that we don't have moments where it catches us. But we have the opportunity to always come back and see, it's not me, it's old, it's an old pattern, it's an old way of thinking, it's an old way of behaving, it's an old way of also responding emotionally on it. Even this is the pattern, it's combined. Yeah. But with clarity and practice, it's getting better. And it's really self-empowering to do this. And I can say that I've found some kind of rhythm in it. So when I have moments along my day when this is really loud, I'm the father to this child, and sometimes I have to say, okay, you are here, you want attention, but I have other things to do right now. I see you, I feel you, I thank you for your protection, but it's not necessary right now. I'm okay. And sometimes when it's stronger, then it's okay for me to sit for a while and say, okay, you are here, you need attention, I'm here. And I let the emotions come out. I let them express themselves. But even there, if tears come, or if anger comes, or if shame comes, I don't go into the story. And on the other hand, I'm not cold. I'm just there. I'm just giving the environment for the emotion that wants to come and that wants to go through me as good as I can. And it's some thought of hygiene. And if you do this regularly, you don't build up so much unwanted emotions and fear and so on. Because you are giving space, and you are able to hold the space, and you are able not to get caught up, and you are starting to manage the current moment, to fill the current moment with life. The question, what you really want to do, what do you want to do from your heart and not from your brain. And don't talk about these things. I have to go shopping, I have to make this call, and da 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 da. I really mean, what do I want? And it's so much easier to come back to this kind of awareness of what you really want when you're not in the fear. Because as long as you're in the fear, you're not able to make proper decisions for your life and for what you want. Because this energy, this fear energy is ruling. And as long as this is the case, it will be quite hard to make life decisions. And yeah, it's clear on this path we might be in between these states sometimes. The fear level is there. You can't push it away. You have moments where you just have to allow it. It's there. And this is no technique to get rid of them. It's just a technique of seeing and allowing. And what happens, happens. But like this, we create an environment of possibilities because we are accepting the current state, not buying into it. And this is the freedom. And this freedom will rise more and more as long as you stay on course. Yeah, so I hope this makes some sense. And I'm happy about any thumbs up and any comments of you guys, and I hope you're doing well and you find a way to discover yourself and be with yourself and coming back to self-love and acceptance and curiosity even, and coming back to be the strong you, the authentic you. Okay. See you next time. Bye for now.